Call the meeting to order.
Jenkins?
Here.
Harden?
Here.
Hahn?
Here.
McKinley?
Yes.
Pearl? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing that we have on this evening's agenda is the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Call it.
Jenkins?
Yes.
Harden?
Yes.
Hahn?
Yes.
McKinley? Motion carried.
There being no unfinished business, we move to section 3, new business.
Make a motion we go into executive session, personnel, to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, and or performance of specific employees pursuant to section 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act, 5 ILCS 120/2C1.
I'll second it.
Go ahead and call it.
Harden?
Yes.
Hahn?
Yes.
McKinley?
Yes.
Jenkins?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Now in open session, the next item on our agenda is the liquor license changes discussion. Sir, you have the floor.
Well, some time back, one of the tavern owners down the street came in and had voiced a couple different issues pertaining to how he is licensed, the fees that he pays, and the American Legion Post. And so shortly after that, we had a couple meetings. Jerry came in one day, Bruce Gamage came in, and we sat down and we talked. In trying to get a way to settle this, to bring about some equality through the fees. One of the issues is that the Legion had a sign that said public welcome or open to the public or whatever the wording was. And the local ordinance does not allow for public to be up there. So, that being said, the short version of it is we either need to adjust our ordinance, change the fees and make the fees more even. But when we do that, then we have to worry about how this is going to play a role in the country club, because they're a club as well. Ken Batt at one time had created a model for a new license as a suggestion. It's just something to think about, because obviously no action can be taken tonight. So this right now is for everybody to know what's going on, and since we only meet once a month, you can do some brain strategy on this, come back with an idea. You can look at that ordinance that Ken Batt created and make that new provision in the ordinance. Set aside the fee so it's more compatible with what the bar holders are paying. So you have some options there. The big thing is that the current ordinance does not allow for the public to be out there and be consuming alcohol.
I take issue with that. Our ordinance doesn't provide for that. Those organizations provide for that. We're granting them a club license and everything. Those organizations have bylaws and everything that state, we're not going to allow, if you're not a member, not to come in here. Now, they all probably say guests. And this guest thing has always been an issue. Who is a guest? The way I look at a guest for, we'll say the country club. I belong to both. The country club, if you're a guest, it would be like if they had a Calcutta auction would be one thing to think of right off the bat. You invite friends in, or you have an open meal, something like that. That would be inviting, you have to be guests. People don't just come in off the street out there and go out down there and drink or eat. Usually, if they're checking on being to be a member, and they're only allowed to be out there 2 times before they then no more. Green Feeders, they'll come from out of town to play golf, looked at as a member for the day. So that time they're there, they are a guest of the club and they can be served and and there's not really that much. If the country club could, it would go private, solely private. If it could get enough members and everything, it would solely be a private organization. But it has been an issue somewhat in the past. It's an issue with members, an issue with this member about who comes out there and everything. I said, I'm paying for a privilege to be out here, and if you're not paying for that same privilege, you're not going to be out here. You're not going to play golf, you're not going to come out here and use the pool, you're not going to come out here and think you're going to run around and do whatever you want to do. And there's others that feel the same way that I do. It's the same way for the Legion, being a member of it. I look at it as being a private club also. And checking this out, I've been attacked from both ends. I've been attacked by one of the bar owners. I've been attacked by somebody else who's a Legion member, saying that I was going to close the Legion. That's a bunch of crap. I've never said anything about closing the Legion. I don't want the Legion to close. I think the Legion needs to behave a little bit more than what they are. I checked it out on a website to see what what the website, I guess, had been for the National. This has been a couple, 3 weeks ago. But it did say, most Legion posts have a bar, but they are, but with limited hours. And, I guess maybe our Legion post has gone a little bit beyond that as far as limited hours goes. I think from 11 in the morning or thereabouts to 10 at night is being competitive to 2 other taverns that I don't think they should be competitive to. As a member, I don't like it, and I expressed that to the person who attacked me about being wanting to close the Legion. And the bar owner who came after me over doing something about it, and I said, we'll do what we can. But your Legion members can be a lot of people. They can be a true Legion member, they can be a Sons of the American Legion, or they can be an auxiliary, they can be a member. Even today, I've talked to the state organization about this twice. Once today, just by accident, I ran into a guy at a place I was at, and he was one of the state officers for the Legion. And not sure which one, didn't get his name in the material, but he just told him our situation here and everything. He says, well, we can't micromanage each Legion post. That's not our job to do that. He said, as long as we're not breaking the law, we're not going to probably do anything about it. But I said, it was a concern in this town with people. And also talked to somebody at the state office about a week and a half ago or something like that over the same thing. Because I've been kind of looking into this thing to see what we can do. I'd like to appeal to the Legion to say, why don't you kind of tone it down a little bit and not be so, open. It's like the guy told me today, he says, well, we can't set their hours or anything, and that's true. The Legion can be open whenever they want to, I guess. They can set their own hours, but I guess we could set the hours when they're self-operating. That's where that comes down, since we're giving them a club license. The Legion, and I noticed down here, it says, we operate no different than the Woodlawn Country Club and any other person who can drink without being a member of the club, and that's just not so. I don't know who wrote this. If you guys did, you're wrong in saying that. It's not a fair statement to say to the country club. They're not doing the same thing. They're not opening up and inviting the public to come in. I'm not against the Legion. I'm for the 2 business towns, especially for the Legion and everything. I think they should have a fair shot, but it has taken something away from them. And I know the Legion does a lot for the community. I'm not a naysayer to the Legion. They have done a lot of good things. They do a lot of good things during the year and everything. There's nothing, and that's their intent. That is their sole intent, but and to help out the serviceman too. That's what their intent is also. And right now I'm finished. Maybe I got a little bit more before we get done, but
Other discussion?
Well, I don't know, you probably got your opinion, I got mine, and we don't argue here. I respect your thoughts, whether I agree or disagree, but I do not want to see the Legion hurt in any way. They do a lot of good things. There may be some hiccups there, whatever, but as a whole, it's a good thing. That's about all
The complaint that was brought to me, and I know that Willard heard the same thing, is that the Legion, they pay $50 every 6 months, and your licensed bar holders down the street here pay $500 every 6 months, plus the additional $50 for Sunday sales. So there's not a balance there, and that's really one of the key issues. They want to see a little equality or at least the one bar owner, I'll say they, wanted to see a little equality there in the fees. Now, Jerry and I had talked, and he had thought that maybe that gap could be closed to make it a little bit more equal. So that's one that is one of the issues, just so you know.
But the alcohol is, having that bar open is for the pleasure of the membership, not for the pleasure of the world. And
The way it's licensed right now.
well,
yes.
the way it's licensed right now, yeah. If they want to get a Class A license, then I'm not sure, I would never vote for it, I'll tell you that. Because I don't want to open up another tavern in this town. Many years ago, they were discontinued as they came up, and they dropped it, went far out of business. We discontinued the liquor licenses and everything.
Well, that's where this model that Ken Beth had drafted a couple months back creates the new section, the Class G. And so it pertains to organizations such as the Legion. It allows for the drinking on the premises, either by a member or a guest. And so the issue with that is what the fee would be.
I guess I'm going to ask Jerry, what do you constitute as a guest? Anybody that walks through the door?
It could be. It'd be a guest of me, a guest of you,
But how many times are you going to allow that guest to come in there?
whatever it needs to be.
Would a guest be somebody who's not necessarily invited by a member? Could be just somebody walking off the street.
In most cases, they're a friend of someone that is a member.
So it is, what you just said in most cases, so there are cases where somebody could just come into the club and have a beer.
I assume, I don't know
Okay.
for sure.
You're not denying anybody service?
No,
Okay. So that is open to the public.
because, somebody in there, it could be their guest. That's
See,
one.
that's an open thing. I mean, it's too open. And I think, that, like I said, as a member, I think there needs to be a cutoff point when you say, hey, you've been coming in here, this is your 10th time coming in here, you're not a member, you can't come back here anymore. Let's say that. Now, that's the way I look at that, Jerry.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the city write that ordinance up?
Doesn't make any difference. The city wrote the ordinance up, and we can change the ordinance and tell you what you're going to do. But I don't think that's our place to do that either. I think you've got bylaws, and if you should follow the bylaws, and as a membership, you should take care of that. We're not worried about the ordinance. The ordinance is going to tell you when you're going to be open, your doors are going to be open, and what the fees are going to be that you're going to pay and everything. And that's about all we do here. Now, we're not going to sit there and micromanage over the Legion and see what they're going to do. I don't want to do that. I don't think we should be doing that.
Is the Legion itself making a request that they be allowed to sell to the public? As a group, because obviously it sounds like there's internal debate and...
Well, I don't know how to answer that, because we booked the Legion for, say, a wedding reception.
That's a guest. Those are guests.
Those are guests. So,
That's a legitimate thing. But when you're open the door to and say, and let the world come in here, then that becomes a problem, I look at. Wedding receptions, anniversaries, anytime you rent the Legion out, those are guests of the Legion and everything, the way I look at it. I see no problem with that. The only problem I really see is with opening the door and saying, okay, you as a non-member can come in here and you can sit down here and drink. I'm looking at it as a member too, just like with the country club. It's no different. This person's been in here a lot. What are they doing here? If they're not a member, then boom, they're going to have to leave.
So what is the issue? I'm going to ask a couple questions. Is the issue the guest issue, or is it the money issue not being on the same playing field?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. What constitutes a guest? The current ordinance says that you can have a guest, but currently the way they are operating is guest is probably a lot more open and a lot more liberal than what the ordinance would really allow for. So
Too broad a term.
yeah, the term is definitely very broad right now. So as the liquor commissioner, as I see it, they are currently in violation of that ordinance. selling openly to the public. I believe that we're breaking some rules right here, and we either got to abide by the rules, and I will point out that I believe that that is a problem for the American Legion, and I'll bring that up here in a second, or you change the playing field. And if you're going to change the playing field, we need to be a little bit more fair, if you will, to the business entities on Main Street. The one point that I'm going to draw attention to, and of course this, I don't know who wrote this, but it is a concern of mine, is this phrase, if we are constricted in hours or functions, there will not be this facility within 2 years. The last thing that I want to do, if there's club issues, I mean, if you as a club vote together that this is the direction that you want to go, and you bring this before us, I want to make sure, I want to do whatever I can to create a playing field that both the bars and the American Legion are around for a long period of time. I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to see you guys go. I don't want to see the building go. And if that means changing the ordinance in such a way that allows you to open that per the Legion's request, make sure that there's no internal division there, but this is a request that your unit is making. I want to see what I can do to help you all out. Yes, sir.
I'd have to, that statement that you read there, I'd have to ask, what's going on that you have to be open like this to last? In 2 years you say it's not going to be there. I mean, what's going on up there that you're going to go down the tubes? Because in my eyes, I guess I look and see that, you have your bingo on Wednesday night. I'm sure that seems like a draw and everything to the community and to the surrounding communities and everything. People come in. The once a month his and her things, I think those look like they would be a good thing for the Legion and a good money maker. But it's hard for me to understand. You say you're making a statement within 2 years. If we don't continue doing it this way, we're going to be wrong. I just, as a member, I'm asking that now. If I came to a meeting, I'd ask you that. I don't understand what's going on that you're that would happen. Maybe there's more there, but I guess I'd like to be explained that.
We got a meeting a week from Tuesday.
Will I get shot if I come there?
You're a big boy, you can't.
Huh? I mean, I'm dead serious. I mean, there's a lot of people who are pissed off at me right now, and I've done nothing. Jerry, what have I done? Have I done nothing? I've had people on both sides, like I said. I had the bar owners come to me. We had that meeting up here that day. I've done nothing. I've said nothing. Other than I just disagree with the way things are being done right now. That's the only thing I really have an issue with. But everybody just, my name is on Facebook. I know it is, that somebody's nailing me and wanting to.
Yeah, I have no idea about that.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it? Okay. But I know I got
And I got mail too.
And I'm about dead tired of it because I've done nothing.
They didn't shoot me today.
Hey, if your name's on Facebook, it means you're part of the council.
I've been on Facebook before. I've been immortalized in a lot of different places on Facebook over the last 30 years.
We're not going to make a decision tonight.
No, that's not the point.
So it's be something we're just going to have.
Well, there's something else that I want to ask. I mean, we kind of, the country club is also a part of this discussion as well. I mean, they would be, if, let's say you went the direction where you raised the fees, and that may be something that they don't want to do altogether. I mean, we're kind of putting them in a position they may not want to be in either. Is it possible to just make it, is this a new license to where the country, this is a new license. So the country club
They can be separated out.
They can be separated out.
Stay where they're at,
if they
and then
want
you go
to.
with this new provision.
Yeah, that's something I'd be interested in going forward with that either, because I don't see any reason to change anything the country club's involved in there.
But people from the public can walk in out there too.
No. Well, they can walk in. Doesn't mean they're going to stay around, Jerry. I mean, you can walk in any place. I mean, you're trying to come out now. I just told you, we don't do that out there. I'm on the board. I've been a member out there for 30 years. We don't do that out there. It's over with. Some people do get in there, it might slip up every once in a while, but it's a slim deal that ever happens.
Well, I wanted to bring this to you guys
No, I
because
agree.
it,
Well, I think you should, I'm glad you did.
it's gotta, we gotta put it to rest, and we need a good solution. So they're operating within the ordinances, and so the other license holders are happy that action was taken.
And I'm gonna put one more thing out there, this is just an idea. I am not opposed, we get the guest thing figured out, I am not opposed to lowering the fees that our taverns pay now. $1,000 a year, $1,100 a year, in the whole scheme of things is nothing. Sunday sales, I don't know why we ever put $50. I don't know why we did that, but we did.
Well, you
I wouldn't lower it, but I wouldn't raise it.
the Sunday sales and the $50 that came about. The history that would have been during the.
I don't need to know that.
Okay.
You know, I'm just saying. Personally, I don't.
So what are we looking for going forward then? Are we looking for the Legion to come present what they're wanting, or what's the next step here?
I would say that it doesn't, correct me if I'm wrong right now, it does not sound like right now, I mean, I don't know what your bylaws are state, but I mean, I would say that we're going to need the Legion as a whole to vote for something. And if they're going to change their bylaws to be, you know, if you're wanting to sell to the public, whatever your request is, you guys need to come to some agreement and bring that to us. That'd be one thing that I would definitely need to even move forward, because I don't want to get in between internal conflict, and then half of the Legion is wanting one thing, and the other half is wanting something else, and then we go against your very bylaws and then make something, you know, that, or bring something into existence that, you know, you all don't want. That's one thing. Now, number two, I'm going to say this, I'll say this publicly. You know, somebody comes up to me and says that I think the speed limit should be 45 miles an hour down this particular street, and I'll say this is something that we need to consider. But until it is made 45 miles an hour, you need to stay within compliance of the law that's given. I do not believe you are in compliance with the law that's given. Until the ordinance is in place, the American Legion, and I love you guys and I'll do whatever I can to help y'all, you need to be compliant and not open to the public, and then, I mean, the whole... blurring the lines. It should be a guess. Somebody's invited, however you all do that, but you've got to be in compliance until we get this thing figured out. I would love to see this resolved by the next meeting in February. We don't need to play this out if possible. At least bring it before us again. Gentlemen, do you have any questions?
I think in response to what you said, I think the way they do things now with their their Saturday night feeds and everything, their his and hers steak and chicken thing, I think, Chris, that's one thing. If you got anything going on, that's fine too. But what you said about the guest thing as far as during the day and all that, and I said, I do go along with you, what you said.
Yes, sir. And as a veteran, Mr. McKinley is a veteran. He served our country well. He is a city council person. He is fighting for the ordinances, the laws. We are elected to uphold the laws that we have, and he is doing that. I do not think it's necessarily, of course, a fair thing. I know in the public eye, the public can do what the public feels necessary, but I do believe that he is standing up for what he believes is right.
I'm trying to be fair to both and all. I'm not trying to downgrade anybody here or anything, but it's got issues gotten raised over this past summer, and I knew eventually this was going to happen. It's been just kind of sitting back for a long time. When the gaming machines came out, that's when
That's
it all hit the fan.
it in a nutshell, right
It all
there.
hit the fan right there.
That's when the whole thing. But
And the other thing too, Jerry, is about the gaming machines. I guess, you know, if the liquor ordinance is, and that's another thing too, because the gaming machines are controlling what your hours are, aren't they? What your pour and serve hours are, aren't they? Yeah. Because I didn't realize that until somebody told me that they like at the bars, they shut off at midnight, and so whatever your pour and serve hours are, I guess that's when they're turned on, and then they're turned off at that time. Is that correct?
That's not done with us.
I know it's not done with you. It's done through the wherever.
When's your next meeting, sir?
What's that?
When's your next?
I was going to ask, could you or Larry come to our next meeting and
That's why I'm asking. When is it?
next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow?
Yeah, I tell you what, I will, what time?
We start at 7:30.
I can be there. I can be there. Larry, if you could be there, I'd appreciate it. If one of the councilmen, or,
I don't think
okay. If one of the councilmen could also reach out and to me at a later date, if he could be there, we'd appreciate that. Again, I'm not hostile. I'm not hostile. I want to do what we can to make sure that, you know, that you gentlemen, ladies also, are viable for years and decades to come. So, yes.
I was told when I was out there today, you'll know more than maybe whoever I was talking to, that Bruce Gamage has looked into this, and in his opinion, you're not breaking any.
That is correct.
Okay.
And I have copies of the ordinances. And do you have a copy of the city ordinances?
Not with
Not
me
in front of
here.
us.
Yeah.
The one that pertains to them is on my
On
city
this?
manager's report.
Mhm.
And Ken Beth was here, and Ken Beth's opinion is they are violating the ordinance.
And that would be the issue at hand. That's where you
what
go
you say
from.
about opinions too.
Yeah, exactly.
It is, yeah.
Whenever you start, once you have the legal argument, then we don't need to go down that route. We really don't. We can work together. I mean, if we're going to go down the legal, next thing we do is we have a war. City doesn't have that. Yeah, we don't want that. So let's just. Obviously, your lawyer's going to have an opinion. Our lawyer's going to have another opinion.
Yeah.
We're going to be bound by our legal representation there in that. So I just don't want to go down that route if we can. So again, I'm going to do what we can
Okay.
to help you. So next Tuesday, 7:30. Larry will remind me, of course. I'll put that in while we're doing this, but that I can be there.
All right.
So very good. Any other questions? Statements? Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank you very
you
much. I appreciate it.
and all the veterans do for this community. Where's the notes? City manager's report.
I've only got one thing real quick, and there was an article in the Pharmacy Leroy paper, so you already have some of this information, but I'm still going forward with this bridge across South Park. But since that article came out, I did have the Dewitt County Highway Superintendent come up, and we had a meeting. A lot of the funds that would be used would be engineering, and obviously we use the heck out of the Farnsworth group. So I went to the county and I said, this could be a joint effort. You're an engineer. If you do the engineering side for us, as far as all the hydraulic studies and all of that, we could make this a joint effort. It would be easier to get grants from organizations if it's a local municipality and a county government project. And so he seemed to be pretty receptive to that. I've since started sending out letters to major organizations, and on here I wrote that I had sent one to Exelon. I immediately got a feedback from Exelon. They want to come one day this week. They want to go to South Park. They want to look the area over and see the bridge and everything, and get a good idea. What I had been told is Exelon gave the city of Clinton $50,000 for playground equipment, so hopefully we can get a little out of their back pocket. So I just wanted to let you know that I'm working forward on that one. And the other thing, there's a swimming pool. Last year we didn't make the cut on the Clark Foundation, and it's awfully hard to find somebody. It's like trying to find two contractors to put a roof bid out. It's awfully hard to find somebody that works on municipal swimming pools. So we lose a lot of water up there every year, and I'm trying to get people to come and look at this thing. Hopefully I'll get something in place before the Clark Foundation has their meeting.
What about a liner? Do we have a liner on it?
And that is a possibility, to put a liner in it. So I've contacted the Champaign Park District, I've contacted the Rantoul Park District, so I've sent some emails out there. It's just hard to get responses, so.
Clark Foundation has a meeting January 24th. I know that, so we
They have
probably
one
missed
in
that cutoff.
February.
Yeah, the February one is for the school scholarships too. So I believe that the Clark Foundation should be able to hear it at that time.
My response back to the going over the bridge and everything. Here comes old bad news Willard again, I have to say something. I'm not too sure why why we're doing it. And I'm saying that because I two of the communities around us that have parks. One that I know definitely has ball diamonds and everything, and it's not next to town. It's close to the town, but about a mile out. Maybe not being that far, but they don't have any way of getting out there for kids other than people taking them out there. They might have some playground equipment. And then one not too far away has a park that's back off the road and everything. And they don't have anything. I mean, I don't know how it works for them as far as, I guess the city owns them and all that, both of them, but each of the respective towns. But I'm wondering why we're doing something, and how much it's going to get used. If we're going to spend all this money, or have all this money spent or donated to us to take care of that, is it going to be, we're going to have herds of people going out there to the park to do whatever? I doubt it. You know, I doubt they're going to, we got a nice park here in town that people can go to, kids can go to and use and everything, and for playing ball, you know, if they want to play ball during the day or whatever, pickup game, which nobody does that anymore really, but kids can go down playing the playground equipment, and it's easy enough to park in and everything, got a nice little pavilion if it needs to be used for whatever. I have to ask, you know, I just don't know if it's worth all what we're going to go through to do this. If you got, I'd like to hear somebody else's opinion about that, but I just don't know if it is. I mean, it's used by the school. The park out there is used by the school primarily more than anybody. I'm not sure if softball leagues are still a factor in this town or not, as they used to be in the past. There's no little league that goes out there that I know of. I don't know about
Little League, the baseball corporation does use it.
They do use it.
Yes, they do. And they had one of the scoreboards donated and the batting cage.
But the thing too is that, you know, probably anybody's going to go out there probably going to take the kid out there. They're not going to be riding a bicycle.
That I can, or at least give my personal opinion on this. I know that when I was meeting with the Clark Foundation and asking for the different requests, the grant requests for to do some of the work on the park, actually one of their main objections was there's no way out there. Why should we invest money into that park right there? I know we had a kid in the past that got hit out there. The fact is, I think that kids
No.
are, they were?
They weren't hit there. They were out and they were on that road and they got hit. If you're talking about the little girl and everything, she's my next door neighbor, and she got hit at the time, and it was kind of early in the evening, and there was an elderly gentleman, and the trees were in the trees, and it was kind of dark there, and they were in the road, and they weren't really any place near the park. They were this side of the bridge.
North side of the bridge.
Yeah.
I think my issue is this. Number one, we do have a park there. Kids are going there. They are traveling. They are taking their bikes. Some are walking and what have you. If we can utilize the power of the pen, and we can utilize the power of our relationships with other government officials, and we can encourage and ask them to invest in this project, we could have a safe way to a city-owned park funded by outside organizations. And I think ultimately that is the key. I know, well, I don't want to speak for the entire Clark Foundation, but I know that they would love the idea of, at least in the past, giving to something like this to get our kids out there safely. I mean, we've put water there, we've got the restrooms that are going there, we've got the infrastructure in there, we've got the different parks and what have you. And again, if we can just create that safe way there, that's, you know, again, that's just my, you guys know my heart when it comes to the parks. I think it would be a benefit to the community, and you know, no one can predict the future, but it's always that one kid who decides to go down there this summer and they get hit, and then the question is, why haven't you? Why haven't you? And it's just something, you know, I don't want to see on our watch. Yes,
When
sir.
we first started talking about this a couple of years ago, we brought it up. I had quite a few parents come to me then saying that they felt like it was unsafe. They didn't want their kids going out there. You know, kids that could ride a bike out there safely and everything, and they're worried about that. So it's, I mean, I've talked to quite a few people about that. I mean, I wouldn't let my kids ride out there because of, you know, going down that road and everything is unsafe, I feel. And if we put a sidewalk there, we have that bridge, it takes them completely off the road.
And I've ran there a few times. It's dangerous making that road. Yes, sir.
If you get the private funds, I'm not gonna sit there and knock it, but I tell you what, it's gonna be, how you're gonna put a sidewalk out there and all that. The other thing too is you ought to spend your money just as well on teaching kids how to ride a bike properly and everything and be safe on them. If you wanna do anything, and there's things.
Do you want to start a program?
I know, I've done that, Josh. I've done that in the past. You're the young person in the room. I'm the old man. I've been through all this. You can start it and you can do it.
Yeah, I do quite a bit in this community too.
I've done an awful lot over the years.
I'm not saying you haven't.
I need
No,
training
Trent,
wheels, so any other non-agenda items? I have one.
Oh, I do too.
Yes, go ahead.
Chickens.
Yes, never mind.
Chickens.
There you go. I no longer have
You're gonna
one.
be able to address it right across the table here shortly.
I'm glad that I no longer have any items to bring up, so.
What's your issue with chicken?
Larry knows what the issue is.
270.
She got the YouTube?
I got one 217 Monroe Street. We'll believe that they may be in violation with some ordinances. If we could have our officers check that out, I would be greatly appreciated, and so would other members in the community. So I've got pictures of them running wild. So the great chicken race of 2015. So
Yeah, it happens.
yeah. Any other non-agenda items?
I'll buy a box.
All right.
Fox is around there. I'm surprised they haven't gotten them yet.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Do we have a second?
One second.
Call it.
McKinley,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
motion carries.